Good afternoon, I'm Sally Biddulph. Manchester City and their fans remain on a high today after an all-night party following their win in the Champions League final. Pep Guardiola's team beat Inter Milan 1-0 to win the cup for the first time in their history, and it finished off an unforgettable season for them, completing the treble of the Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League. They're the first English club to win all three major titles since arch-rivals Manchester United did it back in 1999. Jack Grealish described it as the stuff he couldn't dream of. Natalia Joquera has more.
Wearing medals around their necks and huge smiles. The City players, accompanied by a new trophy, have begun their journey home to Manchester after a night of exuberant celebrations. Last night, a sea of 20,000 blue and white clad fans filled Istanbul's Ataturk Olympic Stadium. Amongst the crowd sat the club's owner, Sheikh Mansour, present for only his second match since purchasing the club in 2008. The final was incredibly tense. It wasn't until the 68th minute that City scored this winning goal from Rodri.
Manchester City lead in the Champions League final!
A memorable night for the lucky fans who were there.
City have won the treble.
Unbelievable. It's really emotional. A lot of grown men in there seeking each other out, grabbing each other in tears. It's been a long time.
I'm not going to lie, it's probably the worst performance they've had all season. It's not been a good performance, but it don't matter because we won, so it doesn't matter, does it? So
never cried. It's the first time I've cried since I was about 4.
It's been a long time coming. I'm 59. I've been a City supporter since I was a little kid.
Yes!
And we've made it. We've done it. We are champions of the world, and it's amazing.
Fans watched City's victorious moment from all over the world, including Noel Gallagher, whose brother said the band would reform if the team won the treble. Despite the looming legal challenges against the Premier League's investigation into City's alleged rule breaches, the party atmosphere was not dampened. With the Premier League, FA Cup and now Champions League trophies in their hands, this team and their supporters will have lots to celebrate as they parade through Manchester City tomorrow. Natalia Joquera, ITV News.
The Energy Secretary and long-time ally of Boris Johnson, Grant Shapps, has told ITV News he won't miss the drama around the former Prime Minister. Mr Johnson stood down as an MP on Friday, describing a report into his behaviour during COVID lockdowns as a witch hunt. Well, our political correspondent David Wood joins me now. David, what does this all tell us about the relationship between Mr Sunak and Mr Johnson?
I think it's fair to say it's probably worse than ever. In effect, a cabinet minister was sent on the airwaves this morning saying that the country has moved on from Boris Johnson. But for Rishi Sunak, consigning his predecessor to the history books, I think, is easier said than done. Boris Johnson's allies are feeling more and more emboldened to criticise Rishi Sunak. Boris Johnson said he might come back, and Jacob Rees-Mogg, an ally of Boris Johnson, has said there'll be civil war in the Conservative Party if the party does anything to stop Boris Johnson standing in any further election. When I spoke to the Energy Secretary a little earlier, he played down the chances that Boris Johnson would even want to return as an MP.
I don't think Boris Johnson himself intends to stand at a by-election, otherwise why would he have just resigned from Parliament? And then secondly, it's a matter for the party as and when that situation arose. Again, you know, you ask me about not just Boris, but any candidate for the party has to go through the same processes.
Now, Boris Johnson's allies believe he's been wronged on a number of counts, something the government denies. But one of the reasons why he stepped down is this anger around the committee investigating whether he lied to the House of Commons about Partygate, something he's always denied. Well, that committee will meet tomorrow to decide when it will publish the report. It could come as soon as Tuesday. More drama, if you like, in Grant Shapps' words, around Boris Johnson. But this is tough for Rishi Sunak too, because party management is tough for him anyway. Boris Johnson's allies are speaking out further and further. They're getting louder and louder. There are 3 by-elections coming as well. That'll be tough for the party. A brave face from Downing Street, but behind the scenes, I think plenty of fear.
David, thank you. The drama goes on. Hot weather warnings are continuing today, with temperatures expected to reach up to 32 degrees. Yesterday, the UK saw its hottest temperatures of the year so far. The Met Office has issued a yellow warning for thunderstorms from lunchtime until this evening. They say there is a risk of flooding in some parts of the country too. A major search is underway this lunchtime after a boat carrying tourists caught fire on Egypt's Red Sea coast. It's been reported that 26 people, including some from Britain, have been rescued so far. Some passengers are still believed to be missing. The Foreign Office has confirmed it's supporting British nationals involved. The boat was on a luxury diving trip when it caught fire. Ukraine's president has confirmed that the country's anticipated counter-offensive against Russia has begun. In a press conference alongside Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Volodymyr Zelensky said defensive actions are taking place but wouldn't say to what extent. In the past few weeks, there has been an escalation of fighting in the southern and eastern parts of the country. Ukrainian troops are believed to have advanced in these areas, and there are reports they've carried out long-range strikes on Russian targets. Donald Trump has made some extraordinary claims in his first public appearance since he was officially charged with stashing classified documents at his Florida resort. The former president told a crowd in North Carolina the charges against him were ridiculous and baseless and accused the FBI and the Justice Department of election interference. Finally, 4 children who survived alone in the Amazon for 40 days lived off fruit and cassava flour, according to their uncle. The eldest, aged 13, the youngest just 11 months, were rescued by the army and are now being treated for dehydration and insect bites. The country's president met the children in hospital in Bogotá last night. He said their incredible story would be an example of survival and their bravery will remain in history. Their disappearance sparked a major rescue operation after the plane they were travelling in crashed on May the 1st. But that's all from us for now. Gamal will be back with the evening bulletin just before 6. Until then, bye-bye.